into the course. And once they've done that, then they can really send it for the second lap. And as a result, the times will tumble as they go through the second slalom now, headed towards that hairpin at the bottom of the course. They seem to have got the exit right on the end of that slalom there. Notice that the surface will change beneath them consistently, especially going through the Mansell section of the course. And they slide and they've turned and they've lost it. And they have lost it there. That is exactly where I thought they may do, because there's a lot of standing water at that interchange between the main circuit and the runoff area of the Grand Prix course. They had too much power on coming through there. There was no grip because they have that surface painted where they put the sponsor logos, and as a result, the tail stepped out, and that is going to be that is just going to really inhibit their time. A time of 1:14.323. So even with that off, they put themselves into second place. But at the end of the day, Jess, there's a faster time in there. And that was just the driver just a little too confident in that moment. But they'll have learned their lesson and they line up for attempt number 2.
I think they overestimated how much intricacy it took to get through these corners in the wet. And here they go again. And it's a lot faster this time compared to their first one. So we'll see how they manage. Of course, even without that off, I think I'm almost certain that the teams above would have been faster anyway, like Basque Country, for example. So still a little bit tentative, but they got to be careful in the wet conditions, because it's not like in the dry where you can take it faster.
Indeed, Jess, and I'm just trying to look, and it looks to me they are running wet, but even then with the wets, they're still losing the back end. So you can see just how greasy it is out on track here at Cox Corner. The question is, can Imperial College get a clean lap in? It was looking incredibly good as they head towards this second slalom on the course. And to my mind, if they really nail this, they could get under 60 seconds, slowing down a fair bit for the slalom there. Maybe the turning circle just a bit too large on the car to warrant fast cornering through the slalom as they come through the hairpin back to where they lost it now, and taking it far more gingerly here. But even then, just a little bit of a squiggle, but they managed to hold it through. And that is a clean lap for Imperial College London. And that is a time of 1:10.504. There is a faster time in that car, but undoubtedly confidence knocked by that off, and I can completely understand that. But with these unlimited runs, it's not over for this driver.
Definitely not. And I could see some puddles up there on the circuit, so I wonder if the driver hit them a little bit, and that probably sent them into a little bit of an off. So they got to be a bit wary about that. And I think that they're definitely going to have a go later on. And just to let you know, in terms of scrutineering status, which you can find on FS Stats, if you search FS Stats, you can find out which teams have passed scrutineering and which teams are close to passing scrutineering. As of this time, there's 19 teams that passed everything in scrutineering, which means that we could see 19 cars on track. We saw 15 cars on track today. Some teams doing well than others. University of Birmingham being one of those teams that did quite well, actually, getting through to the runoff and not finishing last. They scored decent points. And here they go, Giles.
University of Birmingham are away with the electric power unit in the back. Then it's the first time in 7 years that we have seen the University of Birmingham compete in the dynamic event, as they come through towards the first slalom of the course, taking the right, going right and taking the entry in that way as they come towards. Now, this is deceiving. It may appear to be a hairpin. It's not. It's two left-handers with different degrees of turn, one straight after the other. So it may lull the driver into a false sense of security. Now they may feel unsettled because before them is a whole sea of cones as they go through the zigzag section of the course. Two righters there, and as they head towards here, this is where the surface starts to change under them fairly consistently, and you can see the tentative nature with which the driver is attacking this section of the course as they get used to both the car and the circuit. Here they come now towards this second slalom. Now this second slalom is vital, especially to get the entrance and exit right. Did they do so? I'm not going to say, because the drivers have got to find that out for themselves as they head to the right-hander that turns them into the hairpin. Through the left hairpin they go. You can see the dynamics marshals there in purple. Thank you very much to them. Onto the marshal section of the course now. This is where Imperial College London lost it. No such trouble for the University of Birmingham. And they cross the line with a time of 1:15.008. A very solid time to commence with. And away go the University of Malta Oh, I'm very pleased to see these guys.
Yes.
They've been here for a number of years at Formula Student UK, and they are really going for it, as they always do. This is the first time I've seen the University of Malta competing with an electric power unit in the back of their car, taking inspiration with delivery from Lightning McQueen of the Cars movie series. These guys have a great deal to offer, but there's an issue. There is an issue. Waving of the hands from the driver, and the green light comes on over the roll hoop, and the driver pulls out of the course. There is a power issue out of the gate for the University of Malta. Massive disappointment for the Maltese team.
Especially since they passed scrutineering quite recently, and it's deceiving with the lights. For those of you that are new to Formula Student, green is not good. Green is bad. That means there's a problem with the car. You want it to be red. Once it's red, then it's A-OK. It's running on its own power, and the car can get going again. So, not good for them. The driver is in despair right now. He doesn't know what to do. And, I mean...
It must have come up on the dashboard, because the driver had his hands off the steering wheel, crossing his hands, saying it's gone, before the green light over the roll hoop came up. So they must have had some sort of indication on the dashboard as to what's gone wrong. I just hope they can put it right, Jess.
I really do hope so. They haven't got long at all. I know we've got spread until 6, but there's still many more teams in the queue, and luckily they have unlimited runs, but they don't have a while to fix things. It's like in real life, isn't it, with Formula 1? If you have an issue during practice, it doesn't give you long to fix it before the main endurance event tomorrow.
It really doesn't. So as a result, that is the Maltese team being wheeled away at the bottom end of the course following the double left-hander. Gutting for them. The driver in conversation with the marshals asking, where are you going to put me? Because it would be ideal for them if they were able to get somewhere where they could recover the car and take it back to be fixed. And unfortunately, that gravel trap is not a particularly easily accessible point of the course, but they are being wheeled back. I believe they're being wheeled around the tyre wall. I'm hoping they'll be able to make their way back down to the pits so the team can receive the car and start getting to work on whatever technical gremlins are present within the power unit. And the Maltese team are being walked over by the marshals to pick up their car, so they will be able to wheel them back to the pits, which is good news in that regard, but it's not the result they would have wanted, Jess.
At least they gave it a go. At least they gave it a go to start with, but they're not going to know what went wrong, but hopefully it's an easy fix and they can get up going later on. And it's going to take a while for the car to be wheeled out onto track. And I'm just trying to see, I think it's Birmingham going to have another go in a minute. I'm just trying to see who else is there. I think 29 I could see up the top of my...
Sheffield
Hallam. We talked about it this... we talked about it this morning. Sheffield Hallam, a very good story and quite emotional.
Meanwhile, as we wait for the University of Malta's car to be recovered, shall we play a game of Spot the Duck? There is a duck somewhere here on the track at Silverstone. All you have to do is spot it. And there is Anne Duck next to one of our cameras. Isn't that great? See, we can have fun here as well as being serious.
Exactly. And I don't know how they managed to sneak the duck there, but I think it's pretty cool. I think the duck was loving more of this weather than we were.
It is weather for ducks. I'm wondering whether we'll move the duck around the circuit throughout the course of the weekend. And when you spot it, you can drop a comment in and let us know. Meanwhile, the University of Malta are running. They are running to get their car back to allow us to get back underway for sprint. The pause is as a result of the University of Malta's car coming to a halt in rather a difficult point to access here on the circuit, but nonetheless, within a few minutes, they'll be back in the pits and we'll be able to get underway again, and they'll be able to get underway on fixing whatever's going on there. Meanwhile, the University of Birmingham are lined up on the line, getting ready to go for their third attempt. I can smell fuel, Jess.
I can smell fuel as well. Which
usually means we've got an internal combustion car somewhere around. Meanwhile, people coming past us here in the commentary box from Strathclyde in Sussex. Do give us a wait if you're coming past. Glasgow Caledonian as well, Birmingham City University. Plenty of universities here round about. Don't forget, it's not just the on-track action that matters here at Formula Student.
Hey, Dynamic Marshals giving us a wait. Without the Dynamic Marshals, also thanks to the Silverstone Marshals who is here as well, who's given up their time. So also the Purple Marshals and the Silverstone Marshals for making the track safe. And without these marshals all across the UK and around the world, no one would be able to go racing. So thank you to all of those. They're clearing the track right now.
They are indeed. There's the wide angle. You can see the University of Birmingham lined up on the line, and then behind them, Sheffield Hallam up on their Oh, thank you very much to the University of Birmingham giving us a wave there. Can they hear us in the Can they hear us in the cockpit? Yes, they can. They can hear us in the cockpit.
They're giving us a thumbs up.
Is that not the most annoying thing on the planet? You're there trying to concentrate and trying to win. No, he doesn't find it annoying. We like that. Thank you very much.
Honestly, I took part in the Women Esports Finals, which our host Cheryl was also involved in as well, and I find it distracting because I was able to hear the commentary box in the background of the headset, and there was some times where I was just spinning left, right, and almost spinning left, right, and centre because of the distraction. So, as we have just been given hopefully some snaps very, very soon, but we got more teams on standby to take part in the sprint event Performance Unit 2025. Hopefully, we'll have more teams getting through scrutiny. If your team does make it through scrutiny, do let us know in the chat. We would love to hear a reaction, of course. We do have Monty and Cheryl around going through and keeping an eye on everything. So as soon as we hear some insight from them, we will of course let you know.
So if you're from the University of the Basque Country, remember you're currently top of the timing board. And that means you're entitled to sit in the hot seat. The hot seat's kindly provided by one of our sponsors, Bentley. And away go the University of Birmingham are onto their third lap now. It's so subtle, the electric power unit there. And all of a sudden, we seem to have lost them on the cameras. And I can't hear any motor.
Oh, they're still going.
They are still going, thank goodness for that, as they come into the double left-hander at the top of the course, bringing themselves back round and headed towards the zigzags. That sea of cones can seem rather intimidating when you're sat only a foot off the ground behind the wheel of what are essentially experimental single-seat racing cars. Headed towards the second slalom of the course now are the University of Birmingham. Their first time competing at Formula Student in 7 years out on track. They've been consistently appearing, but haven't managed to get through scrutineering until now. Here is that tricky second slalom. The exit on this will set you up for the second half of the lap. So do please remember that, drivers. Pay attention to that one as they head towards the hardest corner on the circuit. Through the hairpin they go. Now onto the Mansell. This is inspired by the likes of Brooklands here at Silverstone. They come through the right-hander there, that unsettled Imperial to the point they lost it. No such trouble for the University of Birmingham, and across the line with a time of 1:09.723, which puts them in second place.
I think it was about 5 or 6 seconds faster than their previous time, and here we go. The action is not stopping out on track. Sheffield Hallam, number 29, its sound internal combustion engine is sounding brilliant. They're out on the circuit. They're going to try and see if they could beat the fastest internal combustion time at the moment. A bit delicate.
You say that, Jess. Is it me, or is that looking rather slow?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They were feeling a bit... I wonder if it's just driver confidence or if it's just the car just slowing down a little bit. We'll have to wait and see as they go through the next turn.
The power looks consistent. It's there. The case is
it's just driver.
Is it stuck in gear, or is it the driver just getting to grips with the circuit and getting to grips with the car? Because the chances are this driver was not the driver that you saw earlier on in acceleration in skid pad for Sheffield Hallam. They'll have swapped drivers around. But I say that, Jess, as they are coming to a crawl. And they're back under their power. You can hear it here in the commentary box. You can hear it at home, and you can hear it at the cop stands. Back on the power then, as they approach the second slalom before that hairpin. Is there a problem with the powertrain, or is this a driver getting to grips with the circuit? I would like to err into the latter, just because it would be nice if they didn't have any problems. As they head towards that hairpin now, before approaching the Mansell section of the course. This is a new layout for sprint here at Formula Student, with this section here inspired by the likes of Brooklands and, of course, Luffield at Silverstone. And across the line with a time of 1:28.086. Power doesn't seem consistent, but maybe it is the driver just getting their eye in, Jess. I can't tell.
I can't tell either. We'll find out in just a moment. But here goes commentary at number 7 out. But yeah, I have to agree. They might have just been uncomfortable with the gears and what gears to go in. certain corners that might have
Coventry got a problem. Coventry have stopped indeed on turn 1 of the sprint circuit here at Formula Student 2025. A team that we have been watching with rapt anticipation over the past 12 months. An incredibly well-engineered car with a lot of power in the back, over 100 brake horsepower as a result of the tuning and, of course, the turbocharger that they've added to their engine unit. But right now, there's no horsepower at all because it's not going anywhere, Jess.
It's not, and even after turn 1, which strongly suggests there's probably definitely an underlying problem. There has been some testing over the last few days. Maybe they just found something. Maybe just something just didn't work altogether that they didn't know about, which is a bit unfortunate.
The driver seemed to be looking over to the wall and trying to communicate with either a team member or the marshals, but they're clearly in conversation with someone, trying to work out what to do in this scenario. It may be a known problem. As the marshals have a look at the car, we'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look, say the marshals, but I don't know necessarily whether the driver from Coventry wants them to have a look or whether they can get it going themselves. And here they are. They're having an inspection of the car. The driver in conversation with the marshals and nodding in agreement, and they are being pushed away. That is the end of Coventry's first attempt. And as well, not to mention, Malta are also being wheeled away simultaneously. We're picking up a few casualties already in the first hour of sprint, Jess.
And the two of them seem to be internal combustion engines, so I mean, it might. I know there was a few teams that were struggling with the battery due to the wet. There's certain parts that might just fail due to the fact that it's quite damp conditions, because quite a lot of teams just are scrutineering in the dry yesterday, and there's a lot of teams that are scrutineering in the daytime in the wet. So those teams might have done a bit better, it seems. But go for Commentary. Still a long way to go there, of course. They still got time to fix it, which means we still might have more teams that could get there. Still no one beating Basque Country's time, though. We still got to see Oxford Brooks out there on circuit. Bath, of course. The EVs seem to be pretty much unstoppable today right now, which is something I wasn't expecting. I thought it would be an internal combustion engine, but it is the EVs that are out there on top, and it just shows the EVs are the way to go. But it's nice to see people win internal combustions as well. But Commentary are wheeled off. A good job to the Dynamics marshals there. And I'm just trying to see, I think, is it Leeds having got another go? It looks like it.
Essentially then, yes, that is Leeds being wheeled potentially into line to have a go. Coventry pulled away, oddly enough, by Lee. A lot of Lees going on here at Silverstone. Formula Student 2025 sprint underway. Giles and Jess in the comms box with you throughout the afternoon, so do stay with us. Unlimited runs means that this doesn't spell complete disaster, as it may well do in other years at sprint for these teams that are DNFing currently. I would also like to say a big thank you to Mr. Goddamn Awful, who has been consistently in the comments on the live stream, providing the times so that people can wind back in the comments and work out what times people have got. So thank you very much to Mr. Goddamn Awful for that. James Ganderton saying shout out to Robin Bales, Dynamics volunteer, for a lifetime of service to Formula Student. Zach Meyer says, so can they run again in this session after a DNF? Yes, they can, provided that the car works. If they got a DNF because of a mechanical problem, they're going to need to actually go back into the pits and fix that first. Rosie saying shout out to Exeter Uni lining up for sprint, cheering on from Cox. Big shout out to Rosie and Exeter. Run 1 would indeed be a DNF, as Jagadish has said. So let's go through the times for you now. The Basque Country are in the lead with a 102.213. Birmingham with a 109.723 in second. Imperial College London with a 110.504 in third. In fourth, it's Leeds with a 127.924. Sheffield Hallam are in fifth with a 128.086. And Coventry and Malta are currently DNFs. Yes, Zach, it is very forgiving, but at the end of the day, these are students who have designed and built their cars with blood, sweat and tears over the past 12 months. It takes a great deal of effort and energy, and as I say, yes, they've done a remarkable job to get this far, let alone getting to the point of winning through events such as what we're seeing now with sprint and endurance. Leeds coming up for another go of it around Silverstone. Do keep your comments coming in, whether you're watching at home, whether you're watching from the stands. Hello on the stands. It's great to see a packed out stand here at Cops Corner. Who are you watching? Who are you supporting? Where are you watching from? We've got Kean Butler watching in Australia. I dread to think what time it is in Australia. Kean, you are allowed to go to sleep, mate.
Yeah, you are allowed to go to sleep. I'm just looking to see which other teams have passed grid that we haven't seen. A line racing from Norway has passed grid recently, so we'll see them on the track a little bit later too. That is impressive. Of course, we've seen Birmingham earlier on. We're yet to see from Bath, but we've got Leeds about to get going then, and they're underway, Giles.
They are indeed underway, but rather tentatively to say the least. They just can't seem to get it into gear, but as soon as it goes into gear, it does go very well indeed as they approach turn 1, the right-hander. Through they go. They're back on the power now. The question is, can they keep it on the power as they head towards the first slalom of the course? There's then a double left-hander to follow at the top of Copse Corner. Live for Formula Student 2025. It is the sprint event, qualifying for endurance tomorrow. Through go Leeds. They're on the power. They have time to beat at the moment. It's a 127.924. This is looking better than that as they head through the zigzags, the 2 double right zigzags. As they now head down towards the change in surface on the circuit, you will lose a lot of grip here because you're going from the tarmac of the Grand Prix course to the runoff, and more often than not, the runoff is then spray painted black in order to print out logos for sponsors as they go through the second slalom. This therefore means that the car is incredibly unsettled because 1 minute it's got a great deal of grip with the actual tarmac, and then all of a sudden it's on the slick runoff areas. As they head through the hairpin turn, Jess, this is looking good for Leeds. This is looking like they are on track to beat their 127 through the Brooklyn section of the course and across the line with a time then of a 1:17.780. An improvement for the University of Leeds.
It seems to me they just can't get going, but once they get going, they're okay. So they could have shaved like 6-7 seconds potentially.
I think they might have a gear shift issue because as soon as they get out of first into second, they're away, and then they just hold it in second the entire time by the looks of it. So they may have a shifter issue or a clutch problem. It's not uncommon here at Formula Student. Meanwhile, lining up is the University of Exeter. Their first time competing in dynamic events this weekend in over 10 years. A huge congratulations to the team from Devon. And as away they go with a controlled start. I hope it is just a controlled start. They're definitely having shifting issues, Jess. They can't get that car into gear. It is in gear now, and there is some power there. If they can just get it up into a gear that would see them round the rest of the course, they'd be all right. It's going, but not particularly quickly.
I can't hear the reds at all, Giles, which means that they're probably not as confident with which gears to go in the car.
I'd go as far as to say they can't get out of either first or second, if I'm being completely honest. Through the slalom they go. It's an ideal opportunity to talk you through the course. They don't seem to be losing power, they just don't seem to have a lot of it. So as they head through the hairpin, or the double left, I should say, it looks like a hairpin, it isn't. I just hope they don't come crawling to a stop, Jess. As they go through the double left-hander, there is then a flick to the right, followed by a sharp open turn to the left, which then takes them into a 90-degree left-hand corner, taking inspiration from Formula E. They're now onto the double zigzags. It's right each time with a risk of clipping the inside yellows on the exit to get the apex. And the drivers at this point will see only a sea of yellow cones before sweeping to the right and then a high-speed left whilst crossing those different surfaces we were talking about earlier, which do hold that standing water. It's a wet track, you've got spinning wheels, and there's the fear of a gravel trap to the right as they lift through that left-hander. Then there's hard braking for a left-right hairpin-esque corner. As you can see here, they are then on to the second slalom. Make sure you get the entrance and exit right on this one. There is then a narrow sweeping left with a drainage channel across it, bringing you out in front of the grandstands, which they do now cross in front of, before the hairpin at the bottom of the course, one of the hardest turns on the course. There then follows, once they get through the hairpin, they are taking that very carefully, but then again, so would I. I say all of this as if I could do any better. I'll tell you now, I couldn't. They are now onto the Mansell complex, which follows it was inspired by Brooklands and Luffield here at Silverstone. It's a high-speed left and right, multiple surface transitions. There is then a 90-degree harsh corner with a short straight to finish across the line. That is Exeter through with a 2.03.554. If they can fix the shifting issues that I've got a funny feeling they've got going on there because they've just come to a stop. Yes, I think there's something playing silly with that car, and the driver is shaking their head and trying to work out what is going on, and it's done, waving their hands to the marshal saying, I need some help pulling myself off. Something's gone wrong there.
Yes, I think we saw them have issues in the acceleration, didn't we? As they weren't, they stalled quite a few times. So hopefully with Exeter they're able to recover this and maybe just confidence it should be Imperial up for another go. This is a team where they just want to finish endurance. They were taking it slower last time, but they seem to be taking it a lot faster this time around.
They are back on the power. I suspect this may be driver number 2 for Imperial College London. Remember, we've got dynamic events all running with open attempts. They can have as many attempts as they want.
Apart from tomorrow.
On the Saturday, as they go through the double left-hander, headed towards that switch in the direction. This is looking good, Jess, and you can hear them on the power, which was more than can be said for Exeter, who seem to be stuck in first gear.
It seems to me that there's quite a few teams that maybe have one slower driver and one quick driver. This seems to me a very quick driver that seems to me like he's been at this circuit for quite a while, but even though Imperial has not competed for quite a bit. We didn't even know there was a Formula student team in Imperial College London. They were the first to get through scrutineering yesterday. They seem to be quite fast through this section of track coming up now. The track seems to be getting less wet and a bit more damp as they're heading past a section where they almost went off earlier. And they were taking it very careful there because they didn't want to have a bit of a spin coming up right now as we're about to head the end exit. What's the time going to be? That was, I was expecting it to be a lot faster there, but it seems to me the technical parts of the circuit, they were a bit slower.
It's 120, their fastest for Imperial College London is a 110, so that's driver number 2 getting their eye in here at Silverstone. Uzair Mulia saying shout out to Jack Lynch from Oxford Brooks. Mark Williams, come on staff's low budget for car made up by enthusiasm and commitment watching here in Spain. Bree says Imperial with the best launch so far from an ICE. Williams supporting Staffordshire Uni, and away goes Imperial College again. And that is a far stronger start, Jess. Clearly, driver number 2 has got their eye in, and they're into full send mode now as they approach the first slalom on the course ahead of those 2 left-handers. This is looking very quick. At times, the camera's struggling to keep up. So this is an unexpected burst of speed from Imperial College London.
I think it was confidence, Giles, and he seems to me he's taking the technical bits a lot faster, but I think this is looking quite good for them, of course. I mean, they didn't do as well as the acceleration that they would have hoped, but they probably weren't aiming to be fast in acceleration. This is where it counts. This is technically, Giles, practice for tomorrow.
Bear in mind, Jess, the time for these teams to beat has been set by the University of the Basque Country, Vizcaya, with a 1:02. If they keep this clean, I'm reckoning we could see a 1:07 or a 1:05 for Imperial College London. Through the hairpin they go, headed into the Mansell complex. This is where they lost it previously, nearly losing it again. This is really struggling with Imperial College London as they cross the line with a time of 1:07.135. What did I tell you?
And look who's on this circuit. We spoke to them earlier on the week. University of Warwick. Good to see them here. Welcome to Formula Student.
University of Warwick are away through turn 1, headed towards the first slalom on the course. Looking a bit chunkier, a bit wider in the bodywork than last year, as I recall, and a bit of a different paint scheme, but nonetheless in that classic Warwickshire green as they head towards the double left-hander at the top of the course. And before taking you through a double a turn to the right, and there's a sharp turn to the left. Trust me, we're getting to grips with the circuit just as much as you are. University of Warwick car number 20 through the zigzags now on the approach to a sea of cones sweeping to the left and the right. And of course, you've got to remember there's a lot of standing water still, because although the track itself will dry out as the cars repeatedly go over it, the standing water isn't going anywhere, as we saw with Imperial College London nearly losing it again through the Mansell complex. Through the second slalom now on the approach to the hardest corner of the course. I say that, I'm thinking Did
they just knock a cone there?
They might well have done. I'm saying this, and all of a sudden we've got the University of Aberdeen out on track as well. So that is Warwickshire coming through to complete their first lap, and the University of Aberdeen are out on track as well. University of Warwick crossed the line with a 1:21.761. The University of Aberdeen, meanwhile, are out on track. You can see them on your screens now. If you're at COPS, you'll have no problem seeing them with that bright blue, a classic university from all the way in Scotland. Great to have them with us as they come through the double left-hander. They've now got this to contend with. There's a bit of a right, then a left, and into the zigzags they go. Just remember not to clip the apex cone on the left on each exit as they head across the surface changes with that standing water to contend with as well. Coming past us here in the commentary box now on the approach to the second slalom. If they nail this, they will be set up well for the second half of the course, which features two of the most difficult corners of the circuit, that being the hairpin at the bottom and then those turns through the Mansell complex, which we've seen unsettle a number of drivers. Away go the University of Warwick for their second attempt. And we'll see what we will stay with the University of Aberdeen to see what they can post as their first time as they exit the hairpin onto the Mansell complex. They are very careful through that right-hander that they've seen the Imperial College London lose it on. That's a 1:18.078 for the University of Aberdeen. Back now with the University of Warwick, who are on the charge of their second attempt. The electric power unit in the back, buzzing to me like a strimmer if you keep your garden tidy.
I'm trying to see where they are on the circuit.
They're coming past. They're coming through towards the
are.
second slalom now, past the tyre walls, where the marshals are stood in the centre of the course. It's looking quite good for the University of Warwick. This is looking like they are going to improve on their first time, headed towards that second slalom now. No such issues with the change in surface beneath them. The driver taking it cool, calm and collectedly. Just a bit slow on the exit of the slalom there. May have compromised the exit just a bit as they head towards the hairpin now, one of the hardest corners. That's hard corner number 1 done. Now they're on to the Mansell complex, which features hard corner number 2. Here's hard corner number 2. No problems for University of Warwick as they take it round across the line. And that is University of Warwick in with a 1:18.460, a personal best for the University of Warwick. University of Aberdeen are lined up, ready to go for their second attempt now. And away they go, Jess, sounding a lot harsher than they were on the first attempt. So they are putting the foot down and really maxing the engine out in those revs. Through the first corner onto the first slalom. They can take it left or right, but they will have to compromise one or the other, whether it's exit or entry. Through the double left-hander at the top of the course. This is looking quicker, Jess, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. You could tell from the start as well that they were putting the foot to the floor very quickly and they were able to get through these corners a lot quicker as well. So, number 5, Aberdeen, done very well in Foreman Student last year, 2024. Of course, just missing out on 4th place to Staffordshire, who's also taking part in sprint later on, I presume, as well. Sprint going all the way until 6 o'clock tonight. Going through one of the most difficult parts of the course now and heading towards the hairpin very, very soon.
That was well held by the University of Aberdeen, getting sideways onto the entry to the hairpin. They managed to hold that. I don't even think they got a cone, but they are now out of circuit. They've gone out of circuit. They've misjudged that, I'm afraid, and they went wrong. I'm so sorry to the University of Aberdeen after such a spectacular save into the entrance of the hairpin. Water sprayed up, and I don't think they got a cone, but they did actually exit the course through the Mansell complex. Away go the University of Birmingham now for another attempt for them.
It might be, is it their second driver, Giles?
This must be the second driver for the University of Birmingham. I'm trying to keep an eye on how many times Birmingham's gone, because obviously we're used to seeing them only go 4 times, but in this instance, it's open season. Unlimited dynamic runs are available. That was spectacular from the University of Aberdeen, if nothing else. Meanwhile, on track at the moment, as you can see, coming through the zigzags is the University of Birmingham. Their fastest time at the moment is a 1:09.723. That was their latest. Can they go better? Can they get in sight of the 1:02 set by the University of the Basque Country is the question as they head down back towards us here in the commentary box. Onto the second slalom now. This will set them up for the most technical part of the course, the hairpin, followed by the Mansell complex. We've seen the Mansell complex create a fair few issues for teams. Through away go commentary past us in the commentary box, sounding nice and throaty as ever. Can they complete a lap is the question. Earlier on they were a DNF. They'll be hoping to rectify that now.
Birmingham's had a bit of a slide there coming for the last section, but what's going to be for Birmingham? 1:12.6.
Not their fastest, I'm afraid.
Not their fastest time, but looking outside our commentary box, we saw commentary got a lot further than they were before, and the engine just sounded a lot better. So whatever they've done to fix the problem, touch wood, as we have wood in the commentary box, it has helped them a little bit. Of course, commentary won sprint in similar conditions back in 2023. Looking to do the same here for sprint. If you qualify, if you do well in sprint, chances are you're more than likely do well in endurance, but you have to survive more laps. Birmingham is there again for their second driver doing their second run. So that would be 4 runs maximum, but they do have unlimited runs. The fastest time will get wiped off, and then their time they then will get into it. But heading towards the final few corners now, we'll see how this team can do. They're almost at the end of this lap. This is looking very good for commentary. They take it very nicely indeed. What lap times are going to be for the number 7? 1:19.6. Not bad for their first attempt. They finish a lap. No DNF now.
That puts them into 7th, does the University of Coventry. Meanwhile, currently running in 3rd is the University of Birmingham. They are attempting to beat their 109.723, their latest lap of 112.619. Through the slalom they go. They get the exit right through the slalom, onto the hairpin now, and then headed into the Mansell complex, which we've seen play havoc with the teams, and it's the first year we've run this section of corners on the exit of the hairpin. It gets very swiffy through that right-hand corner, well held by the University of Birmingham as they cross the line with a 105.762. That puts them into 2nd, only 3 seconds shy of the fastest time from the University of the Basque Country. Impeccable stuff.
No, the University of Birmingham was just out there on the circuit. University of the Basque Country is going out now.
I know, I was just saying that the Basque Country are in first.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Basque Country are back then for another go of it. Can they get faster than the 102? Could they break the 1 minute barrier? We've seen it before. The track is drying out. These electric cars have got that instantaneous torque, that high torque off the line. Look at the way it goes, like a stabbed rat through turn 1. Onto the first slalom they go, taking it through now into the, taking a left entrance into the slalom and taking a right entry. Haven't had to slow down too badly there, compromising the entrance to improve the exit, I should say, through the double left-hander, onto that quick left-hander, right-hander, and through into the double zigzag now. The electric-powered car from Spain looking really quite good. They are currently topping the timing board with the 102 as they come past us here in the commentary box on the other side of the course, approaching the second slalom. Oh, just a little bit of braking through. Oh, just a little bit of braking. They built up. Don't seem to be affected by the surface change underneath them. Onto the hairpin now as they go into the Mansell complex. This right-hander here has encouraged a lot of teams to step it out. They slowed down enough not to have any issues through there. They crossed the line, and that is a 1:04.537. They are in sight of their best. Very, very consistent indeed.
Yeah, I think about only 2 seconds off their previous best as well. So it shows that the Basque Country mean business here, Formula Student 2025. And I think they were even faster than second place at that time. Look at this!
Malta are back, and they are sending it sideways off the line. Exuberant as ever, the University of Malta. They do never let us down, provided their powertrain works. And they are on to the first slalom of the course, headed to the double left-hander at the top. If anyone listening is able to provide us with some water here in the commentary box, that would be very much appreciated. As Malta continue on their way, they've got past where they stopped earlier. They've already improved on their DNF previously, and they're doing so in dramatic style. Looking very good are the Maltese team. There's a problem. There is a problem. There's a shake of the hands from the driver, but the red light is still flashing on the roll hoop. So what is the problem? Because it doesn't. They're pulling off. They are pulling off the circuit, and there's the green light, Jess. What's going on?
I don't know what was going on, because the first few turns, they seemed lightning fast, and it looks like they were going to beat one of the times, but they got a bit further than they were before, but that doesn't mean that they're still a problem.
They can keep going throughout the day, provided they don't mind sacrificing a time, but it would help if they could post a time in the first place, but the car doesn't seem to have the consistency to even post one lap.
No.
This is unfortunate then for the University of Malta. Meanwhile, shout-outs to do in the commentary. Fox and Stoke saying, yes, Aberdeen, you can do this. Good recovery. Nathan Wasink asking, have Stoke been? No, they haven't. Aussie Alba saying, great drivers and good luck to all watching from Western Australia. Meanwhile, Rowry Clark saying, we need Cardiff Racing. I am wondering where Evie is. Not my sister, the car. Meanwhile, Matt's Engineering and Restoration says, watching from home and supporting all teams who have made it this far. While Williams says Scotchegg loves Staffordshire, let's go. And Alison Foster says, get in, Imperial. Well done, Dan. So proud. Keep your comments coming in. Powertrain department are blaming electric over in the University of Malta. Shout out to the commentators and Blim Blom, says Alanix. Shout out to my Yuki Panda and Blim Blom. So clearly fans of Miyuki Panda are being encouraged to come on and say her catchphrase. So that would explain
that's nice. And she is around, so if you are at Silverstone, if you do see her, give her away.
Meanwhile, Monty, if you're about and you can hear us, I'd be interested if you could kind of grab an ear of someone from the University of Malta and find out what's going on there. Meanwhile, the University of the Basque Country are lining up, ready for another go once they clear the Maltese car yet again. The marshals in orange clearing the Maltese car out of the way as the Dynamics marshals in purple, including Mike Mansell, who the Mansell section of the circuit is named after, putting his hands up in cheer. There we are. Thank you very much, Mike. He's running off to help the Motorsport UK marshals clear the Maltese car. Something is very much not right with the car from the University of Malta, which is a real disappointment because it was looking very exuberant there. And meanwhile, TJ, the social media manager for X Racing, coming past us, and he hasn't got a clue what I'm talking about. There we go, TJ. Hello, mate. There we are. Yes, again, the University of Malta are running out with their push-pull rod to get the car. I'm calling it the push-pull rod. It's not the same as what you find on the suspension system, but regardless, it's what it does. They're pushing the car off the track with that bit of metal there that they've put over the roll hoop. Meanwhile, don't give up, Malta, says Yanika. We are watching from home. Jowl asking, where are the University of Bath? Good question.
We would like to know as well.
Gitesh says, I'm looking forward to the Brooks car, aren't we all? They have something to prove after a bit of an issue in acceleration. We've actually yet to hear whether they rectified the high voltage problem that they had. So
here we go. Basque Country is on yet again to try and improve on their lap time. Of course, you can keep up with who's doing well in scrutineering on FS stats. But right now, here is the Basque Country, who is on for their second attempt with their second driver.
Into the double left-hander already. They've already cleared the first slalom. They are looking on an absolute send. Can they get through in under 60 seconds is the question. It's a high-speed course, but incredibly technical as well. But this is looking incredibly promising indeed. Getting the tail out, but managing to hold it well through that change of surface beneath them with the standing water to contend with as well. As they come through onto the second slalom now. This is looking very positive indeed. They take the right exit from the hairpin. I won't lie to you, there's a hornet in the commentary box, which makes life a bit more difficult for myself and Jess, but their life isn't particularly difficult for the University of the Basque Country by the looks of things as they come through the final corners of the Mansell complex to cross the line in 59.409. It's the fastest time we've seen so far at Formula Student 2025. Absolutely impeccable.
They mean business here at Formula Student. They did well in acceleration and they did well here in the sprint. And beat that, says the University of the Basque Country. Bizkaya, they want to win Formula Student 2025.
So here we are then with Imperial College lining up on the line for another go themselves.
And according to one of the dynamic marshals, Giles, track is now considered damp, not wet.
There we are then. The drivers have the choice. Do they run with wet tyres or do they run with slicks? Get in touch in the commentary box. I'd love to hear from you. What should the teams be running? Wet or slicks? Get in touch. Meanwhile, we're checking our backs here in the commentary box because that hornet is massive.
It's massive, and I do not want it to sting either myself or Giles.
I know there are, because I will say this.
We've had loads of wasps.
We've had a load of wasps, and I know there are teams around with bug spray. If anyone fancies bringing some bug spray to us, you can have a shout out in the commentary box. There's away go Imperial College London. Imperial Formula Racing are off for another attempt of the sprint circuit. Car number 97. One of the teams to watch this year. They've done very well in the static events. They also got through scrutineering first on Thursday afternoon by 3 o'clock as they head through to the double left-hander of the course. Looking very tidy through there. Looking a little more tentative now. Maybe slowed down just a bit. It's a highly complex, highly technical circuit that does encourage speed. You've got to manage to manage it quite well.
And it seems to be, I can't tell, of course, it's their unlimited runs now, so I can't tell if it's their first driver or their second driver, but It seems to be, yes, I agree, they're a bit more tentative, but in some parts they're doing absolutely well. They're trying to carry as much speed as they possibly can. They've done quite a lot of runs in at the sprint. Oh, there's a bit of a slide there. Nice held there from Imperial College London. And if they could do a lot of laps here, this will bode well for endurance tomorrow, which is their main goal, to finish endurance for this event, which scores them a lot of points. Up to line, they go 1 minute 8.516. I told you this was good. I'm trying to see if it was their faster time. Only 1 second slower.
0.6 of a second slower, and away goes Sheffield Hallam for another attempt. Roaring past us here in the commentary box. We're reliably informed there are also Hornets up in the stands as well. So, guys, we feel your pain. You're not alone. And that is, unfortunately, we also feel the pain of Sheffield Hallam, who are coming to a stop on circuit. They hadn't even got through to the first slalom of the course, and they are now going a little bit, but it's not just a bit of freewheeling. Yes, they are struggling to get going. Our Sheffield Hallam, not the result the team will have wanted.
I can't tell. Do you think the engine's got? They're trying to get the engine revving again, so it might be stuck in gear. It looks like the marshal is probably coming to the car now. He is trying, bless him, to get the car back into first and second gear, but it's just not working for Sheffield Hallam. It's a shame, the first time they've been in, well, past scrutiny for many years now, and
I believe it's 7 years since we saw Sheffield Hallam out on track, or is that University of Birmingham? I think it was University of Birmingham it's been 7 years for. So it's been a while since we've seen the Sheffield Hallam car on track, and it looks really well put together. It would just be nice if it would go.
Yeah, and it's not going right now, and I think if it were course endurance, they would only have a few maps. Oh, it's still going. I think they're going just a little bit. Here they go underway, but can they keep the revs up for the majority of this lap, Giles? Let's see.
Whatever issue there was, it seems to have been rectified, and Sheffield Hallam are under their own power once again into the double left-hander at the top of the course. But they are looking a little more tentative. I would be nervous if the powertrain was playing up on me like that. And I must say, though, they're looking very planted. You can see the car dancing through the corners, but maintaining that contact patch between the tarmac and the tyre at all times. Some teams running with aero, some teams running without. Sheffield Hallam have chose to run with aero. It will also help with their design points as the team come past us here in the commentary box for their second go of the slalom. The Hornet is out of the commentary box. I repeat, the Hornet is out of the commentary box, and Imperial College London are away for another attempt that maybe they'll be able to get better than the 1:59 as set by the University of the Basque Country, as the Sheffield Hallam car slows down considerably, and they still manage to get the tail out through that final corner of the Mansell complex. They crossed the line. It's a 2:25 with that stoppage. They were trying to make up for lost time towards the end there. Well held, and I must say this comment's come in from Bree, saying it's a bit like the Grand Prix here a few weeks ago. The last couple of corners are still quite wet, whilst the rest of the track is dry. So if you base it on that, then wet's at best. Meanwhile, Mr. Goddamn Awful suggested the teams tried inters. Meanwhile, shout out to Lebanon. Imperial College London looking really quite good through the second slalom of the course. Are they going to get the right exit? Just about. They manage it and in towards the hairpin, which preludes to the Mansell complex. They slow down hard through. Oh, just managing to hold it within track limits. They nearly lost it through the right-hand side of the course there. And they've learnt their lesson through that corner as they come past us in the commentary box to set a time of 1:05.141. which is their fastest time to date, and that puts Imperial College London in second place on the timing board.
That is the benefit of us having a limited run, Giles. They can just keep improving. But Sheffield is up at it again. They're looking to improve on their time as well. Let's hope they just can keep the revs up and in the right gears for the entirety of the lap. Let's see what they can do.
They've got past where they stopped earlier, which is good news. They're on to the first slalom now. Can they just keep on the power? Fingers crossed as they head into the double left-hander past the timeshares at the top of Copse Corner. In through the left and the right-hander before we get into the sea of cones and the double zigzag. Bear in mind the teams might want to avoid, just getting the apex does run the risk of the back left clipping the cone on exit as they come out the double zigzags. Putting the power down now through the surface change and on to the second slalom. This is vital to get right as it will set the teams up for the most complicated part of the course. On to the hairpin now. They're going to need to shed that speed and they do so really rather well. Oh, I think there may have been a cone there. I'm not 100% sure, but they come through into the Mansell section of the course. This is a corner that's caused issues, and that was well held indeed by the University Sheffield Hallam driver. That was, what a save that was. Impeccable driving from the driver from Sheffield Hallam, and that is a 106.547, their fastest time. Only 8 tenths shy of putting themselves into third place. Ooh, I get the feeling the life of that driver flashed before their eyes going through that corner. It might be the greatest corner we've ever had on a sprint circuit of Formula Student, because that is spectacular.
Massive shout out to the people that put this track together, because it seems to me it's a challenge for certain drivers, but it seems to me that people are absolutely loving it as well. Bearing in mind it's going to be a similar track to what we're seeing in endurance tomorrow, and the top times, well, they'll be going last in endurance tomorrow if they pretty much are fast in the endurance tomorrow anyway. People can still compete in endurance, but if they want to have a chance to compete in endurance fully, then they've got to compete in the sprint earlier on as well. We can see quite a lot more people in the grandstand. Give us a wave, everybody.
You're on camera, you're live around the world on Formula Student UK's YouTube channel. And if you're sat there and you're watching and there are no cars, and you can get your phones out and you can go on YouTube and you can subscribe to the Formula Student podcast. Just search Formula Student online on YouTube and subscribe, and then wave your phones in the stand, because I can see you and I want to see evidence that you subscribe, please and thank you. Meanwhile, Afolaba is saying, go Sheffield Hallam, let's go. Meanwhile, Aussie saying, amazing to see the stand so busy. Great support for Formula Student, even if Hornets are about. We've had a lot of Wasps and Hornets here at Silverstone across the week, I won't lie to you. I had thought the rain would get rid of them, but clearly there are a few stragglers, which is a bit of a shame.
Yes, and we always have to keep out of the way of Monty.
Yes, unfortunately, the poor guy's allergic to them, which has played havoc this week for us here in the media team. Meanwhile, if you're sat on the grass verge at Cops, you're on camera, and we're back to the stands now. So give us a wave if you're on the stands. We can even start a Mexican wave. I do wonder, does anyone fancy starting a Mexican wave? Does anyone want to try that for us?
I don't know which way they would do it, mind you.
If you're looking at the commentary box, start on the left and go to the right. Mexican wave. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes! Yes! We've actually got one! Come on, keep it going! We can see it through to the end! You utter bunch of legends! We'll have that! That's fantastic stuff! If that's not the spirit of Formula Student, I don't know what is. I'm loving that.
Yeah, I think we had a Mexican wave on social media as well, organised by Chris. So we got one on social media and we got one live on stream, which is great to see. If you're wondering what's going on, there's no cars on set because no one is ready to do a sprint yet. There's quite a few teams fixing their cars. We want to know ideally what's happened to Malta, because we want them to go out on track very, very soon. Of course, you can keep an eye on which teams have passed through scrutineering on FS Stats. If you search FS Stats on Google, you can go on the scrutineering section and you can find out who has passed. If they pass break, then that means they passed scrutineering altogether. 19 teams have done it so far, and I haven't checked in a while, so there might be more teams going through it as well. And a few people passed as we went through the lunch break too, so it's great to see, because then they get to take part in endurance and sprint, which is one of the biggest points of the weekend. But oh my, I'm just still loving that Mexican wave that we just did there.
Meanwhile, Graham and Drew is saying much the same. Let's go Mexican wavers, let's go Leicester Formula Student. Molly Brooks says go Hull. Joanna says Lebanon, whilst KSN says go Exeter. Let's give you a recap whilst we've got a bit of lull in the proceedings. At 10, it's Malta, who are a DNF thus far in sprint. At 9, it's Exeter with a 203.554. Coventry are number 8 with a 119.611. Yes, that is their fastest time. P7 is Warwick with a 118.460. Leeds are at 6 with a 117.780. At 5, it's 111.812 for Aberdeen. Sheffield Hallam are a 106.547. At 3, it's Birmingham with a 105.762. At 2, it's Imperial College London with a 105.141. And breaking the 60-second barrier is the University of the Basque Country, Vizcaya, with a 59.409. Meanwhile, we've got a visitor here in the commentary box, an absolute legend from the... Oh, hello, we put us on camera. Well, come and stand up, because you can be on camera too. We've got an absolute legend from the Montfort University. Give them a wave and say hello. Daniel Letard, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, yes.
Daniel Letard, you've been with de Montfort for a while, and things have been a bit up and down over the course of the week, and it just gives you an insight into what's going on with the teams that aren't necessarily out on track yet, because you guys have been working night and day.
Yeah, just so many issues, some bad luck here and there. Chain of events of different things that have happened, not really in our control, some of it in our control. We're just working really, really hard, and the team's been really brilliant at banding together. So yeah, hopefully we can get out, definitely for endurance, hopefully. We'd like so, but we'll see what happens for the sprint. Hopefully we can get in before the end.
I've got everything crossed for you, I must say, because I've been following your progress, because you guys compete in the sim racing as well, and it's been a real pleasure to have you with us, because the car is impeccable. I know you guys have overcome a lot, both emotionally and physically, to get the car here, and not to mention, of course, its name's Sabrina, and as a fan of Miss Carpenter myself, it would be great to have a car called Sabrina out on track, so hopefully everything goes to plan and we're able to get the car out on track. And Daniel was very kind. I got some water, so thank you very much, Daniel, for that. Meanwhile, that is Coventry lining up for another go of sprint. Can they get faster? No, 119.611 is the time set by Coventry. They're in currently P8. Meanwhile, for more info regarding scrutineering and other info, do visit, of course, the guys over at FS Stats. Leo Yeat says, any schedules? Great driving there from Sheffield Hallam, says Emma. Yes, that was a save and a half from Sheffield Hallam. That was mad. Meanwhile, how can we check you past scrutineering? Says Rabal, go to FS Stats. Just search FS Stats on Google and you'll find it there.
And anyone who's got all ticks, that means that they passed. That's how you can tell if they pass scrutineering or not.
Coventry coming up to the line, firing up then for another go of sprint. They will sacrifice. And have they done their 4 runs? They will have sacrificed their fastest time to do this. 119.611 is their fastest time currently. Can they improve is the question. The answer coming to you momentarily. As the marshal talks the driver through the course. It's a conversation between the MS UK marshal and the driver from Coventry. Clearly a rather engrossing conversation by the looks of things.
Yeah, I think it must be one of their second drivers. We don't know, but they are underway here for sprint, and that looks like a really fast car making through the walls, turn number 1 and 2. That was quick.
That was quick indeed, Jess. And away go Coventry onto the first slalom now, and there is, of course, the compromise on entry to get a better exit, or you compromise your exit to get a better entry as they go through that one into a double left-hander now. They're onto a flip to the right before a sharp turn to the left, then onto the double zigzags, the sea of cones, reaching out in front of the driver. No issues so far for the University of Coventry. No clones clipped on the exit of the zigzags. The drivers will then head onto the sweeping curves to the right and a high-speed turn to the left across standing water, which I'm hoping is currently beginning to evaporate. We've got a damp track on our hands at the moment. Through the second slalom they go, a bit slow through there, but rightly so, because you've got to get the entrance and exit right, and you've got to make sure you do it properly. We saw Modena not complete it properly a few years ago, and they got penalised as a result. Into that left-hander. Oh, nicely done there through the hairpin. Not a lot of speed lost through there. Onto the Mansell complex. Taking it tentatively through that right-hander. It's proven rather difficult for a number of teams. And across the line they go with a 110.001, which is indeed their fastest time, putting them into 5th thus far here at Sprint.
I had a feeling it was going to be their fastest time due to the fact they look so much more confident on the throttle as they make their way through. So hopefully they can go again very, very soon as well. We do have Malta in at the queue, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for them, because I just hope nothing goes wrong for them, touch wood, because they've been doing their absolute... Their team has been working quite a bit of hours today to make sure they can get through Screw, but they've seen quite a lot of issues in their first few attempts of sprint, and they want to make sure that they can get a sprint time, because points mean prizes, and the more points that you get, the more chance you get in getting a trophy for the top 3.
That might have been the first team that we saw on slicks as well, because Coventry were running slicks there. That paid off really well for them because they put a 110. Their fastest time for that was a 119, I think. So that paid off really well for them. And it's going to pay off again because here come Coventry yet again. And this is what we're saying about the unlimited dynamic runs, because they will now put up their 110 as we have it. But bear in mind, this might be another driver going through, but I think this is the same driver. So this driver will sacrifice the 110 now in the hopes of keeping it backfiring off the line now. Coventry seem to have got the car dialed in the way they want, and they are now on full send mode. They have to beat the 110 in order for this to pay off. Otherwise, they will have sacrificed a faster time for a slower one. Through the first slalom they are now, and through onto the hairpin they go. I say the hairpin, I'm so used to being at a hairpin at the top of the course. There's actually a double left-hander, so do excuse me. I'm getting used to the circuit the same way the drivers are. Now on to the double zigzag. They go. Bear in mind, they've just got to keep it clean through here because on the watch the right of that car. The left as the driver sits in the car. You've got to get the apex right on exit, but you do run the risk of touching those cones, which will add 2 seconds to the time. Headed towards the second slalom now. This is looking really quite promising for Coventry.
Oh,
That's not a great exit from the slalom. That would have slowed them down by a few tenths, if not a second. The University of Malta are back out again. That doesn't look particularly promising for the University of Malta, I must say, but it looks very promising for the University of Coventry as Coventry come across the line with a time of 1:04.400. It was worth sacrificing that 110. They got another 6 seconds faster, putting them in second place. 5 seconds behind the University of the Basque Country. Are the University of Malta still going, Jess? Yes, they are. But I'm fairly certain I could walk faster, I won't lie.
yeah. I think we saw last year there was one team that was going really slowly for endurance. They just wanted to make it through the end of the endurance. They didn't care how slow they were going.
Bolton, now known as the University of Greater Manchester, although we do have permission to refer to them as Bolton here in the commentary box because it's a lot easier to say than the University of Greater Manchester every time.
Thank you, Greater Manchester.
Through come the University of Malta onto the double left-hander. And I thought Exeter was slow earlier. This is interesting. Something's not right with this car, Jess.
Yeah, because even the first half of their next run earlier on looked good compared to this. And you can see the red light on the roll hoop, which suggests the car's still working. So surely it's not driver error, because I think the driver would have gone faster than that. So maybe it's just the car just does not have that much electric power, it seems.
It's got to be a powertrain issue, because we've known for a number of years now with the visitors from Malta that they make to Silverstone every year for Formula Student that they can be incredibly exuberant with their driving. And I just sincerely hope that whatever is going on here, they can fix it. Because if that car gets up to power, you can expect a very dramatic, very exciting lap from these guys. But nonetheless, getting a time on the board is going to make a massive difference to their points haul come the end of the weekend. So regardless of how slow it is, having competed in the sprint, that means more so than those teams that have been unable to for various reasons. So
yeah, I think Malta has been the only DNF so far in sprint, so at least they can get a time on the board that way. But they've got to make it through this final section first, and it is just them getting dialed in. We'll have to wait and see. But it's probably just a powertrain, and it is just them getting dialed in. We'll have to wait and see. But it's probably just a powertrain. Quite a lot of love in the chat. Malta went through scrutiny. They're going in towards the section that looks like Brooklands. They're almost at the end. It's probably going to be a relief for the team from Malta if they get through to the end. At least they could take this section safely, because we know with Imperial Racing they almost went off early in the damp. They go up to the line. It's going to be a slow time, but at least they finished sprint, and the driver was very happy with that. I think their main goal was just to get some points. Yeah.
242.743 for the University of Malta. And here comes Vermilion all the way from Denmark, and they are away with another electric powertrain powering them down the first straight of the course into turn one. That's looking very nippy indeed, Jess.
Yes, Vermilion Racing, of course. I think they had troubles. Oh, as they knocked a cone, that would be a penalty for them, but they had trouble with acceleration earlier, which meant they only had one run that they did. They couldn't do any more. There's quite a few cones knocked there, and any cones knocked will be time penalties added to their final sprint time. But it seems to me they're going quite fast around this circuit. This driver seems dialed in, and the car seems dialed in as well.
Both car and driver at one with one another. It's a real zen place to be. The cockpit of the Technical University of Denmark's car, Vermilion Racing, come all the way from Denmark, and they're going through the second slalom now. And meanwhile, the University of Malta are back out again for another run, but I don't think they're going to trouble Vermilion particularly as they head towards through the final hairpin of the course onto the Mansell section of the circuit, through that rather tricky 90-degree turn, getting a bit sideways through there, just enough not to compromise too much on speed, and across the line with a 106.349. That's an incredibly rapid time for the first run of a car and driver combination. We're going to see that time tumble. You watch. Meanwhile, talking of watching, we're watching, meanwhile, the opposite end.
That's a lot faster, it seems, from Malta.
We're watching the opposite end, though, of speed when it comes to electric powertrains, because although that is an improvement on where they were earlier, I mean, me running might have been an improvement on where we were earlier with the University of Malta, but that is actually going a lot quicker than it was, so it may be a combination of sympathy. Well, no! Any time they take the car beyond a certain speed, it dies. I wonder whether that's a software issue. I don't know, but there's something. Anytime they take that car up to a decent speed, and all of a sudden it kills itself. I don't know what the issue is, but the power just drops away, and you end up with the green light below the roll hoops.
I think they wanted to get a lap time on the board, so they didn't want to go through a certain speed to start with, and then they were like, you know what? Try go through a certain speed, see if it's fixed the problems, and it didn't. We got more comments in the chat whilst we wait for Malta to be rolled get out on off of the circuit, and then Vermilion can go. But Joel, what's happening in the chat?
H Simo is suggesting the problems that Malta are facing might be an overcurrent issue. Yes, H Simo saying Malta have an overcurrent. Bree saying, no, Malta, that was so good. While Jagadish says, I think the track is good enough for slicks. Commentary have proven this. Commentary have indeed proven this. So, yes, unfortunately, Malta have an overcurrent issue. So when they bring it up to power, it's drawing too much current. And as a result, the computer is saying, no, that's not safe, and then killing the car as a result, which is a real shame. Let's go Leicester, meanwhile, says Ben Drew. Meanwhile, lining up for another go of it is Vermilion from Denmark. We saw a 106 from them, which put them into... Where did they have... I can't see them on the timing board, oddly enough. That's rather wrong.
No, Denmark 5th.
Denmark. I love how they're just listed as Denmark. They're in 5th at the moment. Vermilion Racing from, oddly enough, the Technical University of Denmark. And away they go for a second attempt. Will they get faster than the 106 that we saw just now? I mean, no doubt that we will. Could we see a sub-60 time? I think it's on the cards for these guys as they head through the first slalom of the course. Looking a bit bumpy through there, I must say.
Yeah, it does at the moment, but if I was this driver, you got to feel for the track on the first lap. Let's see what this car could do on the second lap. It does look a lot faster through this section of corners. The driver seems to be more confident with the car, a zen feeling, as Giles would like to call it as well. And as the track gets drier, of course, the cars will be faster, so they got to... It feels like a different circuit in some places. They probably need to know how they attack these certain of the track. And you spotted something, Giles.
Their suspension setup is interesting because anytime under braking, the car just bounces and bunny rabbits, which you wouldn't expect. Yeah, it's porpoising, and it's interesting to see. It's anytime under braking, clearly, sliding it through the hairpin. Some very exuberant driving there, very smooth, I must say. And across the line, with a time of 103.31.
Second!
They are now in second place.
And it's them cheers behind us in Cox Corner.
Sheffield Hallam are up again for another go of this course. The time for Sheffield Hallam is 106.547. That's their best. Nice throaty noise coming out the back of Sheffield Hallam's car, and away they go into turn one of the course for sprint. Headed towards the double left-hander post that slalom they've got to do first. I'm almost ahead of myself. I imagine the drivers are also thinking about a few corners ahead too, as they head now towards that hairpin. Through they go.
And I think it's important as a driver just not to think what's in front of you. You've got to think ahead to the apex, because if you think what's in front of you, it's harder to react with what's going on around you. And it's particularly handy for endurance tomorrow when there's lots of cars around you. As we can see, Sheffield trying to get back on the power again, but they seem to be all right. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to be their fastest time, but it looks like they're feeling more comfortable in some parts of the track. So we'll see what they can do at Sheffield Hill. Don't forget, this is way above their unlimited run, so their fastest time will be gone. Time is a 1:06.547. If they go slower than that, then it won't be ideal for Sheffield Hallam, as it looks like they took that corner a lot slower than I would have thought it would have been. They go up to the line, and it's going to be a 1:14.032. The gamble did not pay off.
Did pay off. Tell you who else is gambling? Birmingham. They're back again for another bite of the cherry. There won't be any cherries left if they keep biting like this. A couple of cars that we're interested to see still. Nottingham and, of course, Staffordshire, as well as Cardiff. Have yet to see any of those make an appearance, but we saw them earlier in Acceleration. And away go
And Bath.
University of Birmingham for another attempt for them. Their fastest time so far at the University of Birmingham has been a 1:05.762. So they're gambling on improving on that, from what I can gather, unless they've got their slower driver in from earlier, in which case they'll be sacrificing their slower time. So the time that you sacrifice is based on the driver's fastest time. So it's not done as the team's fastest time, it's the driver's fastest time. So that may well be a case of, as we saw earlier, there was Sheffield Hallam, it was driver number 1 or driver number 2 who was slower earlier. They may not have lost that time that we saw earlier. I'll tell you who will know all about this is the dynamics. They've got dynamics marshals have got a lot of maths to do. We're trying to guide you through it as best we can. Leicester are here. Leicester are coming up to the line for their attempt on track for sprint. A friendly rivalry between De Montfort and Leicester. Daniel nodding his head in approval to see Leicester out on track. As through go University of Birmingham with a time of 1:03.122, and that puts them into second place. Congratulations to the University of Birmingham. Mike Mansell slowing them down there to bring them into the pits as the University of Leicester line up ready to go for their first attempt out on track, and away they go, Jess. And there's a cone gone immediately as they shift gears on the start straight. They've got a cone gone there, so I'd already be inclined to go again if I were them.
It looked like the most travelled cone so far, and it hasn't even been in the middle of sprint yet. But I know there'll be a lot of cones that will travel further come tomorrow. But Leicester, of course, loving the striking delivery. They keep informing us of progress every month with their monthly newsletter, which is absolutely fantastic, and I would highly recommend you have a read of that. And we usually broadcast that on the sim racing series. But here comes Leicester then, heading through this next stage coming up now. And it's their first attempt with their first driver. It seems to me they're feeling more comfortable already. So they're past the commentary box now. They're heading towards the most difficult set of corners on this circuit. The next set of corners after that remind us of Brooklands. But through they go. Comes Leicester. The final part is going to be crucial.
Ooh, how are they going to handle this hairpin? Taking a very, very tight entrance to that. And that's paid off very well. Through they go into the Mansell complex. This right-hand corner has proven very difficult for a lot of teams. No such trouble for the University of Leicester, who post a time of 1:15.580. A solid banker to start with. For car number 58, you can see the evolution that's taken place over the past 24 months since we last saw them here in 2023. Last time out, it was dubbed a bathtub on wheels. This time, they've dubbed it the coffin on wheels between myself and Leicester. And they are killing it out there, looking really great. But the power seems to have ceased. The powertrain seems to have stopped. And the visor of the driver has gone up as they communicate with the marshals. And they're pulled away now, though, so they're back under their own power, clearly.
It might have just been whilst the idle installed.
They're so back under their own power that they're ready to go again immediately. Car number, that was the conversation. There was no power loss. They were like, I want to go again. Let's go. There's no one else in the queue. It's their second time. They haven't broke the timing beam. They have stalled there. They haven't broke the timing beam. This will be driver number 1's second go, which they are entitled to make if it's their first time. It's those that have gone previously get held back, and they don't have priority. It's drivers like the guy from Leicester here.
Oh, the nose has gone through the timing beam.
Has the nose crossed the timing beam there, Jess? I don't know. They keep stalling it. I don't know what the issue is there. Maybe it's just nerves. And no, they are away. They are away. It's a bit of a bumpy start for the University of Leicester, but they are off into turn 1 immediately. The time to beat for the University of Leicester is a 1:15.580.
They got a lot of work to do, Leicester, but it seems to me they're struggling with getting the car started more than anything. Once they're going, it seems to me that they're all right, but there are certain corners that are taking it a little bit tentative.
Bit of insight from our resident expert here in the commentary box, not myself, of course, Daniel Attard from DMU. We're reliably informed that Leicester have throttle issues.
Oh.
From what he can gather, having listened to the sounds coming from the pit lane as they attempted to start their second run, that would explain the consistent stalling there. So, thank you very much to Daniel for that one. Meanwhile, Warwick are away for another go as Leicester continue on their way for their second attempt into the second slalom at the bottom of the course, headed towards the hairpin now. Jagger Jeff is asking, are some teams waiting for others to dry the track up so it saves extra job of having to switch to dries? From wets to dries, quite possibly, as through the hairpin go Leicester onto the Mansell section of the course with this right-handed kicker that has spat out a number of teams. No problems for Leicester as they come to the line with a time of 1:17.199. It is slower. I think they may well have crossed the timing beam earlier on at the start.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, it would have been a way quicker time than that, probably at 1:12. So, yeah, it's got to be one part that passes the timing beam, and it's usually the nose. We saw that acceleration earlier on, so a bit of a shame there. Keep your comments coming in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from at Silverstone, or if you're watching at the comfort of your own home. Who are you supporting?
Aussie Alba, I think it's very clear where Aussie Alba is based, but they are saying Anya Birmingham. Meanwhile, Alec Atfield saying shout out to Kieran and the rest of the OBR team. Alison Foster says, come on Imperial, get back up the leaderboard. Afolabi says the Sheffield Hallam University racing car is beautiful. I am biased, but it really is. Objectively, as someone who isn't biased towards Sheffield Hallam, it is gorgeous. Meanwhile, Alec Atfield says, go OBR from British Columbia. And
1:16.6 for Warwick just then.
Thank you very much, Jess. Aussie Alba also saying great to see some very well-designed aerodynamic cars on the track. You don't necessarily need aero, as Warwick have just proven with a 1:16, a very respectable time. I'm also seeing people from Oxford Brookes arriving at Cops onto the grass there. Does that mean they are about to head out on track? I can't see them in the queue on my screen there.
They might be getting ready. Earlier on, they had a high voltage issue, which stopped their chance of getting through acceleration runoff. So
Warwick going again. Behind them, the University of Leeds and the University of Staffordshire. Away go Warwick. They are off now for their, I believe, fourth attempt. Would it be, Jess? Looking very zippy through there. Very nice through the right-handed corner.
I think it's their second drive and their second attempt.
I can see a zippy, but I can't see a rainbow. Through the slalom they go now as they head towards the double left-hander at the top of the course. Quite a wide wheelbase, but no issues really. Taking it a bit slow into the double left-hander, but rightfully so. The problem is you've got that sweeper as it first goes left, and then there's a 90-degree kicker thereafter. So you can go faster through the first section, but it doesn't bode well because you will have to slow down immediately for that really harsh left-hander thereafter. Talking of left and right-handers, we're through into the zigzag part of the course now. Watch your rear left and into the second slalom. Go the University of Warwick. Looking a lot more consistent, a lot faster than last year. So this is a real improvement on the bar they set themselves at FS 2024. So congratulations to them. Purely on an engineering front alone, they really have engineered, they've learned from last year clearly, and they've evolved their design. It's looking faster. Can they go better than the 1:16 they posted earlier on in the session as they come across the line with a time of 1:11.678? So 2 seconds behind. That's not bad, Jess.
That is not bad at all. I believe it's their fastest time.
It is actually in 1:11. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 1:16 is slower than 1:11. Who would have thought it? Congratulations to the University of Warwick. They have, in fact, posted their fastest time, so congratulations to them. Meanwhile, the University of Leeds are lining up for another go. They are currently in 10th with a 1:17.780 as their fastest time. It's time for Staffordshire to unleash the beast. Track records, be aware, says Mark Williams. They are in the queue indeed. Meanwhile, David saying, give a shout out to Vermilion Racing from Denmark. Big up those guys. It was great to see them. They're currently in 3rd. And watching from Bath and Sporting Team Racing Bath, Electric and Malta, says Robert Watson. Where is OBR? We're wondering that. There's a rumour going around that they might actually be back in electrical scrutineering, having had to fix the high voltage problem. Meanwhile, high spirits for the University of Leeds. They head out on track once more for another go of sprint into the first corner and headed towards that first slalom. Taking it nice and gently, not too exuberant, but at the end of the day, as Malta proved, if you finish, you've at least finished.
And if you
It's good
finish, you
news.
score points. And it seems to me that the power seems to be a little bit more consistent than the last one, because you could see they were struggling to get it into first or second gear. But now it just seems like that. It seems to me that it's a that was very nice to be there for the lead. I'm liking this.
This is looking good. This is looking good for Leeds. Into the zigzags now as they approach the commentary box on the other side of the course, and the second slalom as they contend with that surface change beneath the car. The painted surface losing all traction beneath them as they head on to the off run from the Grand Prix circuits. There's not actually tarmac there, it's a different material. Very, very quick on the approach into the hairpin, well handled. Oh, just about held through there, sideways on the exit of the hairpin into the Mansell. They hold it through there. They are on the ragged edge and they cross the line with a 110.002, and that sends them all the way to 7th. A fantastic drive, spectacular for Leeds, loving that. Meanwhile, here comes the University of the Basque Country yet again. Their fastest time is a 59.409. That will be contested, and they put that up as a sacrifice to go again. Have the University of the Basque Country.
Yes, the sun is starting to come out, so I don't blame him. If you already got a lap time on the board, maybe it'll be fine as long as your car doesn't break down. Touch with the Basque Country. It's been the team to beat in a dynamic event as throughout the entirety. They've been the most consistent throughout the dynamic event, and they're looking to keep it that way. In the sprint, they've got a 59 to beat. I don't know what the fastest time in the drive was last year, but we know the Basque Country did well then last year as well. Seems to me they're approaching it a lot faster than they did the last few times, which means the track is getting a lot better. We know that Leeds are lining up for another go, so as soon as the Basque Country is done, Leeds will go racing once more to improve their lap time. Here comes Biscaya up to the line. It looks quick, but it's a 1 minute 2.
The fastest time is a 59.409. That was slower. And away go Leeds yet again. They know what they need to do now.
So I wonder if they changed a bit in the car, which allowed them to start the car quickly.
I don't know, Jess, but what I do know is I love this Leeds driver.
I love the drive.
Those last few corners on that last lap from Leeds were some of the best I've seen at Formula Student. I've been coming here since 2021.
I would love to know the name of that driver.
Fair play. Car number 63, University of Leeds, out on track, internal combustion from up north, looking very nice into the double right-handed zigzag now, and on the approach coming towards us in the commentary box. We can see them now with our own eyes rather than on the screens. You can see them, no doubt. Oh, looking sideways through there. Really, they know where the apex of performance is for this car, and they are now just on it. Can they get the correct exit from this slalom now? I don't know whether that was the way I would have gone myself. They're headed towards the hairpin now. Watch, there's no quarter given. They don't really back off. Maybe it's more of a back off than I was expecting.
They're stopped. They're stopping, Giles.
They may have sent it just a bit too hard, Jess. Oh, hang on.
That's a driving
has that got stuck in gear?
Yes.
It got stuck in gear. Heartbreaking for what was looking like a really rapid time. Twisting it through the final few corners with a 121.822, but that was on track to be such a spectacular time until the mechanical problem there. They managed to get it fixed just by reshifting it, but Uni of Leeds. There was.
I love the determination from Leeds, because how many times have we been out on circuit? Must have been loads of times, which I think the unlimited runs that Formula Student have introduced has probably been the best thing, and we've seen it come into effect in endurance. Not as much, not endurance, sprint. We haven't seen it come to effect for acceleration and skid power because there was so much going on and it was chucking it down. We have one car ready to go. It looks like it's car 4 from the sound of it. There's lots of cars which have black and red liveries that look remarkably similar. So we'll see what that team can do for their first run in acceleration. I think I can see commentary that would like to have another go very soon. They're underway. Staffordshire underway.
Staffordshire are underway on full send mode. Chris Aldridge asking, why do I use the phrase goes like a stabbed rat? Because to my mind, when rats are stabbed, they don't want to stick around, so they move very quickly. And this was looking quick, but that's looking a little slower as they're back on the power. A bit of a tentative approach to the slalom there for the driver from Staffordshire, up onto the double left-hander. In they go through there, and it's not looking as fast as we've seen Staffordshire in the past, but nonetheless, keeping it consistent and keeping it within the cones, which is exactly what you need to do. There were some teams who were questioning the need to stick within the cones because with these unlimited dynamic runs on the Saturday, the rule states it is your fastest time without cone penalty. So they were thinking, well, we can just send it and not have to worry. Well, actually, you do, because one, the marshals will disqualify you if you're taking the mick, and two, at the end of the day,
last year.
At the end of the day, your fastest times when you finish the event will be add any cone penalties you're due for those particular runs. They will add the cones. So there's no point hitting the cones, and they just managed to avoid hitting the cones there. Did Staffordshire on the entrance, I should say, to the hairpin, into the Mansell section of the course, taking that corner very gingerly. It's rather notorious already, and it's only the first year we've run it. Across the line then with a 1:12.592 for the University of Staffordshire.
Puts them in the top 10 in sprint so far. So I think after their first run, they're going to be thinking, right, how could I tap this corner more effectively? How can I gain more power in the gears potentially as well? I think they're going again. Yes, they are. So second attempt for driver number 1 as they make their way onto the start line. As soon as the green flag is up, then it's up to the driver. Just like we saw in acceleration, they can go when they want, as the marshals has been briefing the driver once again as they've been moved forward. So we'll see. Can Staffordshire improve on their 112, which almost 110. But anyway, they're underway and it looks like a lot faster up the line, and it's, I love the sound of the internal combustion, but Staffordshire, you can tell that they're going up the gears quickly.
Let's have a look at what they do into this first slalom then, because they were a bit ginger through here previously, and they're looking a bit more on the power now. But remember, they've got to contend with the fact that they've got that front wing, which is rather wide and increases the wheelbase compared to those teams that are running without aero. As someone's pointed out on the chat, these aero cars do look gorgeous, and this is really impressive stuff for the University of Staffordshire as they head into the double zigzags on the approach to the second slalom. Meanwhile, the camera going wide round here, and here they go. They found the camera again, looking very nice. Staffordshire, they got 112 to beat a team that we've seen compete very impressively over the past number of years and sounding absolutely gorgeous to us here in the commentary box, but we are a bit biased towards the sound of internal combustion. Do the second slalom they are now. Can they get the exit right? Looks like a very good exit from the slalom onto the hairpin now. We saw them on the entrance to the hairpin previously get a bit sideways, managing to hold it there, going a bit easier into the entrance, getting the exit sublimely now into the Mansell section of the course. This right-hander has proven rather difficult for previous teams, but they have no issue with that. And across the line with a time of 1:08.820. A brilliant time there for the University of Staffordshire.
They're shaving about, I think, 4 or 5 seconds off their previous time, so they moved from 10th to 7th place. As we can see, Exeter Uni are back on circuit, and that left a much better start from Exeter. They were plagued with troubles earlier on, and we could see if those problems seem to be fixed or not. The first time they competed in dynamic events for ages. As there's quite a lot of teams, we've seen quite a lot of comeback stories here at Formula Student UK, and it's always great to see those underdog stories, but can they make it through this very tight section here, coming through the double left-hander? It's not a hairpin like last year. It is a completely different circuit compared to what we saw last year. Completely designed specifically for Formula Student UK 2025, live here at Silverstone. And it seems to be Exeter just wanting to get through this first lap, really.
Exeter were looking exuberant from the start, and then post the first slalom, they seemed to come off the speed and power. I was expecting to see them on this side of the course far earlier than they actually were. So I'm not entirely sure whether those gremlins on the power have gone away, but they are looking.
They're going a bit slow.
There we go. There's the speed again. It's inconsistent. I wonder whether they're having issues with the gearbox. I can't lie, Jess, because very well held through there. And I must.
There's a Hornet again.
Yeah, we got a Hornet back in the commentary box, but all eyes should be on Exeter rather than the bugs that we're dealing with here in the commentary box.
Oh my god. I think I got it in my hair.
No, you don't. It's gone. It's fine. There we go. Back on track. We've got Exeter who've crossed the line with a 1:24.803. Congratulations to the University of Exeter. If someone could provide some bug spray here in the commentary box, that would be great.
Yes. I think they're about 40-50 seconds quicker than their previous best, so hang it in there, and they're not going to go again, it looks like. So up next, does that look like Denmark? Vermilion
That
Racing?
is Vermilion. That is Vermilion Racing. The question is, of course, should Vermilion run on slicks? If I were them, I would do. The track is really drying out now, and I really would suggest getting those slicks on your cars if you haven't already. Vermilion ahead of, is that car number 5 behind them, which is Imperial College London. They're coming back again for another.
No, that's car number 5 is Aberdeen.
Ah, yes, it is. Do excuse me. I saw position number 5 and I saw Imperial College London, who are currently 5th in sprint. That would be what that is. So yes, Aberdeen are there behind Vermilion. And then coming up later behind those guys, is that Oxford Brookes? It is indeed Oxford Brookes. Oxford Brookes will be coming to the track very shortly as Vermilion come up to make their first run. They're moving Oxford Brookes past Aberdeen because Oxford Brookes have yet to run at all, so that therefore gives them priority. Vermilion, meanwhile, lining up on the line to go. What can Vermilion do? Plenty of love in the chat for the Danes. And they are away. A cool, calm and collected start for Vermilion from Denmark. They are off now, down the circuit, going through turn 1, headed towards that first slalom. You don't tend to hear the drama out of the back of the engine because obviously these teams are running with electric power units, but they are incredibly quick. The fastest time, 59.409, set by that electric power unit from the University of the Basque Country, as Vermilion head now into the double zigzag at the top of the course. And they've now got to contend with the surface change beneath the cars, which will unsettle the drivers and the cars under fear of that gravel trap as well. I believe it was Hertfordshire in 2017 who went into the gravel trap, I'm reliably informed. And they head past us here in the commentary box and on to the second slalom. Quite ginger through there, it strikes me, as I won't lie, but there we are, headed towards the hairpin at the bottom of the course, getting a bit sideways through there, shaving off the power. Oh, very sideways through there, and very well held as the oversteer kicks in. And into the Mansell circuit, and off they go. And that is a time of 1:04.622.
Wow.
And that puts Denmark in 3rd. Brilliant stuff.
That's not their fastest time. Their fastest time was a 1:03.310, but it shows that they've been consistent throughout these last few runs. So giving them the confidence that this car means business. And I think they could go quicker, I'm almost certain, but I believe that's their second driver. So they're going to go again. So it's only a banker lap. So that's really, really impressive. So we'll see as they come through. Plenty of comments coming in the live chat. A lot of love for the Danes. The number 27 then is making their way through the course one final time, and it's an electric powered vehicle, and it was very speedy heading through the first section, and the double left hand that they got to nail that. They've got to take it with a bit more speed. So let's see what they could do here then, and they definitely take it with just a bit more speed.
That's looking just slightly quicker, but still just as controlled, which is exactly what they need to do. A 1:04 is nothing to be sniffed at, but they want to get below that 60-second barrier, as the University of the Basque Country did, and they seem to be on track to do so if they keep at this pace without having any offs. Bear in mind they're approaching the most complicated part of the course as they go through the second slalom now and approach that hairpin at the bottom of the course, which we saw them getting their tail out on earlier. Meanwhile, Oxford Brookes are out on track as they go sideways. Do Vermilion on the entrance to the hairpin. Not as much a torque steer on the exit of the hairpin for Vermilion as they come across the line with a time of 1:02.879, which sends them into provisional second place. Oxford Brookes out on track as they go through the double left-hander at the top of the course on the approach to the double zigzags now are Oxford Brookes University, a team in high spirits and in competition to win FS UK. They have yet to do so. It's been their ambition for several years. They've come very close, but they've never quite managed it. Can they do so this year? Their biggest competition, University of the Basque Country, currently leading sprint with a 59. Can they get under 1 minute out of the gate?
Doesn't look like it yet, though. I think they're just getting a feel for the circuit right now.
It's a exciting lap then for Oxford Brookes Racing as they come through the hairpin.
But to me, they took that hairpin quite nicely.
It's without drama, this run, I must say, but it's a exciting lap for the first driver from Oxford Brookes to compete in sprint as they head to the final corners and across the line with a time of 1:08.881. That puts them into 8th. That's just their sighting lap, so very fair play to Oxford Brookes University. University of Aberdeen, meanwhile, lining up for their go. The car number 5, I know Jojo will be watching with rapt anticipation, as will the vast majority of those from Aberdeen up in Scotland. I'm also loving the change in typeface on the nose cone. Uni of Aberdeen. Loving that. And that was my attempt at a Scottish accent. That's the closest you're getting.
They just got the nose, they just passed the timing line, so that's going to be quite some time for them. They've got to get going. They're trying to get the engine going. And
off they go. Off they go. And this time will be inhibited greatly by that breaking of the timing beam, as Jess pointed out there. I would use this to get some temperature into the breaking of the timing beam, as Jess pointed out there. I would use this to get some temperature into the tyres and just find out where this car on this circuit. But they are slalom, I can't lie. In fact, is that a car struggling with its power unit, or is that a driver trying to get their eye in?
I wonder if it's a driver trying to get that eye in at an almost dry circuit. You can see the first part of the course, almost dry, but obviously the circuit at the moment is, by the talk of the course, damp right now. It was wet earlier. We thought it was going to rain for the entirety of the day, but that's why you do not predict the weather forecast. And to be honest, I'm glad that it is stopped raining here at Silverstone. I think it's not going to be a fast time from Aberdeen so far. They just want to get their starting lap in. And I think it's still their minimum run. That's more like it. They got a bit more speed through there.
Aberdeen essentially struggling then, or just getting their eye in. I wouldn't like to judge if they are indeed getting their eye in, because trust me, it's not as easy as it looks driving these things. They are bespoke Formula cars.
Last year from Jarvis's VT.
Yeah, that too. Do check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. How hard is it to drive a Formula student car? Answer, very. And here it comes, Aberdeen through the final throws of the sprint course into the Mansell complex. This right-hander has proven incredibly tricky. Nicely done through there by the University of Aberdeen, and coming across the line with a solid 1:35.021. The sun is burning through the clouds. Sun cream is out. Shorts are on, and the drivers are being instructed to stop as up to the line come Oxford Brookes University. It's currently green on the roll hoop. The Dynamics members of the team in the pink high-vis just trying to fix something in the cockpit of the Oxford Brookes car, as far as I can see. Meanwhile, in the background there is the University of Bath Racing Electric team. Great to see them back. Team Bath Racing Electric. And then behind them is Birmingham yet again, from what I can see there.
Yeah, it is Birmingham. They're not giving up, are they? The car's right for Oxford Brookes.
Oxford Brookes back under their own power then as they bring the car up to the line. They really do need a win here. They didn't manage to get into the final of cost, whereas their nearest rivals, the University of the Basque Country, did. They need to make up the points deficit as a result by essentially winning sprint, and they can only do that by beating the University of the Basque Country. They have set a fastest time at 59.409, and away go Oxford Brookes University. Time at 59.409, and away go Oxford Brookes University. On as they head towards the first slalom of the course. They take an entrance from the right. Through they go, approaching the double left-hander now at the top of the course. As you can see here, looking very planted are the team from Oxford Brookes Racing. No doubt a number of their supporters will be on the edge of their seats or even standing up. I certainly would be as they head into the double zigzag now on the other side of the course. It's looking consistent and it's looking collected. The question is it quick enough to beat that 59.4 as set by the University of the Basque Country? I'm not sure just yet, but do remember there is always the old adage, look slow is quick. They could be on for something quite special here if they keep it consistent through the most complicated part of the course. Here they go, entering the hairpin. Round they go. Torque vectoring will pout them out through these complex corners. This is the hardest corner of the circuit. Through the Mansell complex they go, and across the line with a time of 59.945. There is 5/10 of a second in it before they are topping the timing board. Woo!
Bring it on. I think the issues that they had earlier, hopefully they fixed itself. So that was definitely a sign at Oxford Brookes to be like, is it working? The first lap was like, yes, let's put the hammer down, and that's exactly what they did. And they've got to do well in dynamics, because otherwise they're not going to do as well. And speaking of that, even with the 5 extra points that the Basque Country got in the runoff, they still topped acceleration this morning. So
It's not just the 5 extra points from acceleration to bear in mind, though, because as we were saying at the very start of this broadcast, the University of the Basque Country are in the cost final.
whereas Oxford Brookes are not.
Exactly, and that's going to make a huge difference, I say a significant difference to the points. And the trouble is, it's only 5 or 10 points in it in these cases, but it adds up to make something different. University of Aberdeen talking of something different, an internal combustion powered unit all the way from Scotland, and boy howdy do they look good for it. Hopefully the power is consistent this time for these guys. It's just looking a little slow on the approach to that slalom. I'm not convinced they're going to get a particularly rapid time, but nonetheless they have actually competed. Their fastest time was a 1:11. Their latest was a 1:35. So they've got points on the board, which is more than can be said about other teams. So
We've
fair
still
play
got
to
about
them.
we've still got about 6 teams that are past scrutineering that we have not seen yet.
Absolutely, including some very exciting teams and some teams who've named their cars after my sister for reasons I can't quite understand. Meanwhile, Aberdeen are looking rather slow all of a sudden, Jess. The wheels are turning, but very slowly indeed. They've come to a stop. They've come to a stop. Can they get it going again is the question. You can see the heat radiating off the exhaust on the car there, and you can see that the temperature here at Silverstone has increased dramatically in the past hour as the sun has come out and it's breaking through that cloud cover, raising the temperature of the track and drying the track out in the process, which will mean that drivers who go for it now will have a better chance of posting faster times than those who ran at the start of the event. So I imagine we might be seeing not only those 6 cars that we haven't seen yet who passed scrutineering, but those that were running earlier today coming back because we've got those unlimited runs. So keep your eyes on the track. It's currently 9 minutes past 4 as I've got it here in the commentary box. Plenty more action to come. We've got we've got a weather forecast being shown to us right here, right now. There is currently rain in Oxford, and if the wind blows it our way, we could see a significant. And the wind is indeed blowing it our way. So
If you are a team that's past scrutineering that wants to take part in sprint, get in the queue now.
it's currently raining in Oxford, and the wind direction is blowing it straight for us, but it could have evaporated by that point because of the temperature. So it's touch and go, but there could well be rain on track. Right now on track is British University of Aberdeen, who have had a problem and are being wheeled away by the Motorsport UK marshals as headed towards them come members of the TAFIA to bring them back to the pits. Disappointing for the University of Aberdeen, but they do have times on the board already. What a shame, Aberdeen, says Oddy Albert. Indeed. Caramel Crispy says, so car broken now, they can go and fix it. Yes, they can. Oh, Aberdeen feeling gutted for you, says Fox and Stokes. Meanwhile, Ben Taylor says, shout out to the OBR guys for putting in a mega job to get the car up and running again. That is really, really fair play because they had a high voltage issue. And if you've got a high voltage issue when you're running with an electric powertrain, not only do you have to fix said issue,
You've got to
get it re-scrutineered, which is no mean feat. So they've had a really rapid turnaround over the course of the lunch break in the first couple of hours of this event. Meanwhile, Christine saying, waiting to see Bolton, University of Greater Manchester, formerly Bolton. Good luck to the team. Meanwhile, Fox and Slip said, thank you for helping everyone. Aussie Albert saying, rain coming in 30 minutes, possibly. Yes, indeed. Keep an eye on the forecast. Latest that we have at the moment is there's rain in Oxford and it's blowing the way of Silverstone. The question is, will it have evaporated by the time it gets here? We'll find out in the next 30 minutes. Meanwhile, lining up for their first run of sprint is Team Bath Racing Electric, and away they go.
That was quick.
That was a quick start off the line into turn 1. And that's looking quite planted there, Jess. I'm loving the livery as well as they head towards the first slalom, taking the right entrance and going through on the left, out on the right. Perfect stuff. Headed towards the double left-hander at the top of the course. They're so quick.
Look at this. They're
so quick the cameras can't maintain focus on them. This is really promising from Team Bath Racing Electric as they head into the double zigzag midway through the top end of the course, crossing over the tarmac and onto the escape runoff as they come into view of us here in the commentary box. Onto the second slalom now are the team from Bath. This is their first run, remember, and it's already looking very promising. Well, Health and there as the torque steer got the wheels to step out on the driver, and the driver was having none of it. Well controlled there. Onto the hairpin now. Only the Mansell section of the course to contend with. This is an incredibly difficult right-hander. Can they handle it well? Yes, they can indeed. Incredibly clean and across the line with a time of 103.711. That is how you do it. That was really impressive from Bath.
And especially since the banker lap, there's more time to find. So I would think they're going to get into the sub 1 minute. But one team that wants to improve their time massively is Staffordshire. They followed our advice and they're going out on the circuit before the circuit gets a lot worse. So here they come then, past turn 1 and in towards turn 2, into the double left-handers. It seems to me the car's looking a lot more healthy than what we've seen earlier. So their time to beat for Staffordshire is a 1 minute 8.620. They definitely, it seems to me, definitely looks faster than that, but don't forget there's a more damp track then.
The conditions have improved dramatically, but they might be about to get a whole lot worse if the rain on its way from Oxford does arrive in the next half hour. Bath are on another go. Their second run looking even quicker out of the gate. Staffordshire got a time to beat of 108.820, so it's actually 109. Now into the final throws of this lap, into the hairpin they go, keeping it steady through there, not a lot of power lost, and into the final corners through that rather unpleasant right-hander in the Mansell complex, and across the line with a time of 103.913. Really impressive there from Staffordshire, liking that. And what have Bath got to say in reply? They posted a 103 with their first ever time, and that was a sighting lap. Surely they can go better. Surely they can break the 60-second barrier. The University of Birmingham will be hoping to do so. They're going yet again. These unlimited dynamic runs are really playing into the strategy and the point scoring here at Sprint, as you can see on your screens the University of Birmingham coming through into the double left-hander at the top of the course. Meanwhile, in our view in the commentary box, we can see Bath cross the line. What is the time going to be there? It's a 102.813, an improvement for Bath, but not quite what they need to top the timing board. Meanwhile, they're determined to top the timing board. They've been in orbit around it throughout the afternoon. It's the University of Bath who, it looks to me, Jess, are doing rather well.
Yeah, Birmingham seem to be a lot more tidy, and I think the more runs they do, the more runs they can improve. I just like the unlimited runs because A, we got action on circuit, and B, we're not talking to nothingness throughout this lap. And Birmingham, it seems, oh, look at that. That was a nice control at that corner there. And it looks to me it's going to be a faster time. The time to beat for them is a 1 minute 3.122. Can they beat their PB? No, that was close.
It's 103.696.
6 tenths slower.
Staffordshire have been attempting to go and then have stopped. They're trying to get the car restarted, but there's a look of frustration on the face of the driver who's parked right outside the commentary box, which would be great for an interview, but isn't ideal for a fast lap time. Not sure what's gone on there.
They're trying to get the gears on. It looks like, yeah, they go. But since they pass the timing beam, it's going to be a slow time. So I think just warm the tyres and getting on the side lap him.
Does that smell warm to you? There's the potential there for not a mechanical issue, but a question of the driver not knowing whether they can go or not. There's a possibility of a bad release there. I can neither confirm nor deny, but it has been suggested in my ear. Meanwhile, Staffordshire are currently the only car on track. Plenty of comments coming in. Ryan, Michael, Williams, the Swansea Uni still have a team. Been a while since I've looked into this. Yes, they do. I think they're trying to get them through scrutineering.
Car stops,
and
they're going again.
They are just about moving, but it's not looking particularly great.
No.
Yeah, there's something going wrong with the Staffordshire car. What is that? What is up with them? That's odd. Because as soon as they get back on the power, it's not like it's slow or sluggish. It's there. But when I say it's not like it's slow or sluggish, that's looking a lot slower than they had been previously. Staffordshire may want a visit to the pits when they get in from this lap, if I were them.
Yes, for an update on Swansea, they haven't been through scrutineering yet, and if they have, they haven't passed quite a lot of stuff, if you're wondering what's happened with Swansea. So if you want to find out more about scrutineering, go on to FS Stat. Car number 4, post the time of... Well, we didn't see what the time was, but I'm guessing they aborted that run, a bit of a side lap. But here is car number 7, commentary, about to take their next run in the sprint contest. We now have an additional team that's passed scrutineering. I don't know which. So if someone has recently passed scrutineering, let us know in the chat.
I do know who it is, Jess, and I'll tell you in a bit. Let's just see what Coventry can do. They've got a time of 1:04.4 to beat. They're currently in 7th position, and away they go with a very aggressive start. A point to prove. They will want to get as high as they can in the standings, because that not only means additional points, but it also means a clearer track when it comes to endurance, because they will have teams of an equal pace around them, or potentially as you go throughout the day, by the time you end up with the last car on track who was the fastest today when it comes to endurance, you'll have an empty track. You've got free reign of the circuit. They'll be aiming for that. They should have had that in 2023, and then they had a number of issues which meant that they weren't able to compete until a lot later in the day, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that is correct.
Here come Coventry then with a time of 1:04.400 to beat. Headed towards the second slalom now are the team from Coventry.
Seems to me that there's some parts of the track that they're not very consistent in, it looks like, with the power.
Really slowing down through the slalom, and as soon as they're free of the slalom, they're straight back on the power, Jess, indeed. Into the hairpin they go. The complex Mansell circuit is beckoning now. Through they come, no problems through there, across the line, and the time is a 1:05.099. It's not quite enough to beat their 1:04.400. The times towards the top 10, top 8 are all incredibly close. Incredibly close indeed. And here comes a line racing, car 142. Favourites here at Formula Student. They've made a number of appearances over the years, and they're back again with a driver looking like the Stig in the first series of Top Gear. If you can remember back that far, I've got a funny feeling a lot of the team members this year were born after 2002, which really does make me feel rather old, as Daniel Lattard is nodding at me from DMU here in the commentary box. He was born after 2002. I feel like I want to get my pension.
They stopped. The car from the University of Edgar, Align Racing.
They've stopped on track.
Green.
That's not great. That's a green flag. And also, is it me, Jess, or are they outside of the cones?
They're outside of the cones.
I think they lost power and lost control.
Yes. It looks like they stopped as well.
Well, they have stopped indeed, but the question is as to why. There's a thumb up from the driver to the marshal, the driver's now looking, back and forth at the dashboard. There's a thumb up though, but they need some help moving. I think they're not going to be able to get back without some help. I think we've seen this before with a line. This is seeming there's a bit of deja vu to this, I won't lie.
Yes. I think it's a bit of deja vu to what we saw earlier as well.
So there's several cones being raised there by the marshals. So did the driver, the car back under its own power, you can hear the alarm sounding. Did the driver lose power and as a result lose control? Quite possibly. The car back under its own power now.
I think they're going slowly as a result. That's what I would do. See how you can approach certain corners. Why not? Your time is compromised anyway. And then in the next lap, go for it.
Oh, getting the tail out there. They're going for it already. When the power's there, they might as well use it, and the line really are using it, going through the double zigzag at the midpoint of the top end of the course. Looking a little less confident at that point, and there is no power. No power there. And I can't quite tell what light is flashing on the roll hoop either, which makes our life even more difficult.
Does that mean that it's off?
I don't know. It could well mean that it's off. Or there's a green light, so it was completely off. It just died. Now they've got re-energized. The red light is flashing. They should be able to be under their own power yet again. But the car seems to just completely shut off. It doesn't even go into limp home mode. It just stops. Which is rather...
And they're going again. But how long are they going to stay?
Well, who knows? Rather disconcerting for the team from Adgar. Can they get back to the pits zipping along like some of the Hornets that we've had here in the commentary box? And,
quite a lot of them.
Far too many for my liking. Anyway, the question is, can they maintain power long enough to actually get back to the pits and have someone investigate what is going on here? Because when it gets going, it looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic.
It looks fast.
From the University of Adgar. Yeah, it does, Jess, but it's not consistent enough to challenge any of the teams, and that is at the moment a 2:33.339, which is just nowhere near fast enough. Which actually, to be fair though, it's faster than Malta were earlier on their limp home round. Meanwhile, Warwick, clipping every cone known to man, are on their entrance into that first round. That's 3 cones gone, and when I say gone, I don't just mean gone, I mean crushed. That's rather impressive. They managed to send it off the line just a bit too quickly, and caught 3 cones on the start straight of the sprint course. I'm hoping that that won't have actually damaged any of the suspension components, because that was on the right side of the car. I can't see any damage to my... I can't see any damage. No, that doesn't... It looks all right. I think those chunky tyres just absolutely killed the cones.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? It just went whoop.
I can't see any issues with the wishbones or anything of that nature, but yeah, not the start they would have wanted, but then again, and they will have to sacrifice the time here. The only concern I have for Warwick at this point is, have they caused a puncture there by going over the cones in 3 cones in rapid succession?
I hope not.
Fingers crossed for them that that's all okay. They'll be able to do an investigation when they get back to the pits. And they've got back to the pits very quickly. They've got across the line with a 1:10.605, which is their fastest time, albeit with 3 cones gone and a rather exuberant start.
Yeah, so I think, of course, it would knock them down a peg because of those cones. But right now, we've got a line racing ready to give it another go. Let's just hope that they fix their electrical problems that they got in the car. And could someone remind us about the Basque Country time? It's at 59.4 is the fastest time. And look at that. I'm just praying, Giles is praying that this power, this energy is just constant.
Well, I've had a comment here from, who is this? Darren G. No light means potentially dangerous faults. A bit disconcerting to say the least. Meanwhile, Robert Watson, you've been reminded of the time there. The fastest time as set by the University of the Basque Country. A line on track.
This is looking good from Adgar. They held through those slalom sections quite fast, which means whatever they did must have been a minor issue, or they managed to fix it quite quickly. So
they never went back to the pits. They never went back to their garage.
It must have been it was just off.
It's just weird though, because an electric car, when it suffers a fault, it goes into limp home mode where the green light starts flashing. We haven't seen that. They go through the hairpin with no issues at all as they approach the Mansell section of the circuit into that really rather difficult right-hander, and they're just beginning to lose power now in the final throes of the lap. Just when they needed it to cross the line, it was looking so promising, and they've stopped mere meters from the finish line. They get going again, but
that's been a fast time.
That's about 4 or 5 seconds added on there, and that's a 1:17.280. I do also need to correct the graphics. They're not British, they're Norwegian. And I can only apologise to anybody at home who was caused offence by the wrong flag being presented there. I know some people get very passionate about flags.
And here we go, a rivalry to beat all rivalries. Oxford Brookes are trying to beat Basque Country's time of a 59.409. Their fastest time, Oxford Brookes, is a 59.945. I do believe it's their second driver in the car, and they mean business as the track is drying up. There is meant to be rain on the horizon, so the sooner they get going, the better for Oxford Brookes. There's a lot of them waiting for anticipation for the car to get going. We can see a red light on the roll hoop, which means the car is running on its own power. So let's hope they can get underway.
Here we go then. Oxford Brookes University, currently second in sprint. 5 tenths separate P2 and P1. P1 currently held by the University of the Basque Country preliminary with a 59.4. 59.9 was the time set last time out for Oxford Brookes. A rivalry for the ages.
And here
they go. The power straight on, charging down towards the first corner, headed towards the first slalom. They're going to have to nail every section of this course if they want to be in with a shout of challenging the University of the Basque Country, and they are doing everything they need to as they head to the double left-hander now. Keeping on the power, no cone issues that we can see, and certainly no power issues either. They had a high voltage problem that prevented them from competing in the top 6 shootout. They've been away in the pits for a number of hours, and they had to go through electronic scrutineering again, and it's paid off for them because they are looking primed as they push the car to its limit throughout every element of this course. They are really charging towards that P1. The question is, can they match the 59.4 as set by the University of the Basque Country? It's certainly looking like it at the moment. Only the Mansell section of the course to go. The hardest corner has proven no issue for Oxford Brookes, and they cross the line with a time of 57.956. Oxford Brookes are leading sprint.
Oxford Brookes, I would like one of your drivers to go to the National Pitch Straight where the Bentley chairs are waiting for you, and you get to stay there until someone beats your time. And look at the cheers from Oxford Brookes. They're going again, Giles. They think they could beat it.
Crikey Moses, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. This is Oxford Brookes after all, and I'm fairly certain that the vast majority, a lot of people in the stands. Give us a wave if you're supporting Oxford Brookes in the stands.
Or at Cop's Corner, even though we can't see you.
And they're away again. Your leaders in sprint, they go away with a cheer. The unlimited dynamic runs, they don't even need them. I think this is only their third run, Jess. This is looking incredibly impressive from the University of Oxford Brookes Racing.
Oh,
They've stopped. They've lost power. They've lost power and they're back on the power. This won't be as quick. There was a moment there and I felt anxious. I dread to think how the team from Oxford Brookes and those around the world watching them are feeling as they head into the double zigzag at the midpoint of the top end of the course. They are currently leading though. Your leaders in Oxford Brookes with a 56.956. And that 57.956 is nearly a second there or second and a half faster than the Basque Country. So the gauntlet has been laid down. This won't be as fast after that moment on the approach to the double left-hander where they lost power, but they are incredibly controlled when they are on the power. This is really tidy stuff. And they're slowing again, Jess. They are slowing again, or were they just being a bit cautious through these final corners? But I've got a funny feeling that, no, that's nowhere near as fast as they were.
What's the time going to be? 1:11.093.
For any other team, that would be incredibly respectable, but for Oxford Brookes, that's a time that signals trouble. And I would suggest that they might want to go and get someone to look at that.
Yep, I think so, because if it's an electrical problem, they may have to go for scrutineering again. Right, 94. That's a new team that we haven't seen before. It is the University of Greater Manchester who recently passed scrutineering.
Otherwise known as Bolton, for those of us that aren't used to this name change that the university underwent back in December. They have kindly said that we can call them Bolton, so fingers crossed they'll be on the line very, very soon.
Yes, indeed, and we could see them. I think this means business for them. Acceleration, they didn't take part in acceleration, but they got 2 more chances to take part in dynamics. You're watching the Formula Student 2025 competition. We just had acceleration a couple of hours ago. Now we're going to sprint, which will last all the way till 6 p.m. tonight. That means we've got an hour and a half still of action to go. And I thought we had Bolton.
Well, yeah, we do have Bolton. They're not quite on that line yet. They're being instructed. They haven't run in this event before, so one of the Dynamics volunteers for Formula Student is there just guiding them through what they need to do. Talking of what they need to do, Oxford Brookes, what you need to do is identify some of the issues that may be occurring there, and additionally get one of your representatives over to the hot seat. We are also still doing the hot seat, and you are the fastest car on the track by some way, 1.5 seconds. So
I think that Monty's trying to find a representative, it seems.
So you're entitled to sit in the hot seat. So Oxford Brookes, if you're sat up there in the cop stands, don't sit up there. Come and sit in the comfy Bentley seats and feel smug that your team's the fastest. Meanwhile, car number 94, we've got a queue developing now. We've got
Leicester
Bolton,
and
Malta all ready to go, and here comes Bolton for their first attempt. They have swapped from last year's rubber belt drive, which seemed to play havoc with any potential for a fast time from Bolton. They've swapped onto a chain drive now. It's the first time we've seen them competing in any dynamic event this weekend. It's great to see them back. Favourites of ours here, both at Formula Student at Silverstone and the Formula Student Sim Racing Series.
Yes, which the finals were on Tuesday, and a massive shout out to Atlassian Williams for hosting us on Tuesday. It was an enjoyable event, and I think for one of their drivers, it was the last time they competed. And here they go, underway for the first time. They're competing in sprint.
Looking really quite rapid and a bit bumpy off the line there into that first corner. They've got cones for sure. Have the University of Greater Manchester, formerly known as Bolton. It's like the artist formerly known as Prince. And they've got more cones. They've got one of the slalom cones. Have the University of Greater Manchester, Bolton. They're always rather dramatic and they're always fun to watch, regardless of whether they're slow or fast. Can they post a decent time is the question and keep the power on throughout. They're looking a lot faster than they were last year. Really nicely to see as they come in through towards the double zigzag, coming into the view of the commentary box here. Meanwhile, Monty's back.
Hello everyone, sorry I've been so quiet this afternoon, I've been doing a load of podcasts. However, on my walk here, I gather you were looking for the driver of car 63.
Oddly enough, yes, I was.
Fantastic, I pulled him along with me, so I'll let you guys have a chat with him. I'm going to go look and see what our seat looks like.
All systems go here for sprint at Formula Student. So let's just see what Bolton can post as their first lap time as they come across the line. Momentarily, here we go then. It's a time of a 1:16.907, a solid banking time for the University of Greater Manchester, formerly known as Bolton. Meanwhile, Leeds are here. Hello, Leeds.
Hello.
What an absolute send through those last couple of corners on that lap. That was spectacular.
It had to.
It had to. Why did it have to be?
Had to beat the time of the other driver. And everyone was putting slicks. They put me on wets. So it was send time. We knew we were putting the slicks after.
It was a really impressive time, I must say, given the conditions that it was just beginning to dry out. You were on the wrong tyre, essentially, and you really did send it through those couple of corners. How did you manage to hold it?
Luck. luck, and I would like to say skill. But the car's really, really good in handling this year. It's incredibly easy to catch, so well done to the Leeds team for designing such a beautiful machine. Wish it shifted a bit better on the second run, so that's something for next year. That second one was onto 04, I've been told. But yeah, we're now gonna run on the slicks, so should be going even faster.
Are you going back out?
Other driver first, me second.
Right, I won't keep you. Best